Hi, warning. The following content you're about to hear is heavily biased, especially towards a very specific college team. Regardless, we hope you enjoy the content and understand that we do get wild and do know our opinions are just opinions for the most part. We're just very passionate individuals, you understand.
Well, welcome to Far Side of the Pod, guys. My name's Jordan. We got Ridge.
What's up?
We got Caleb.
Greetings, bitches.
And we got Mikey.
Greetings, people who I am not going to call bitches.
Today,
I always got to do a funny one, y'all.
uh, today we're gonna start off like we normally do. Start with some college football. Uh, First of all, yeah, we know we took a break week last week, and that was on me. But we're back at it, and we're going to start off talking about the college football playoff because ever since we've been around, I mean, the last time we were here, we talked about um, all the games that led up to the bracket being almost official. Yeah, we had to wait till after the championship games and everything, but we got the official bracket now. Um, so on December 20th, we're starting the playoffs with Indiana and Notre Dame. Then we got SMU, Penn State, Clemson and Texas, and got Tennessee, Ohio State. And just a fair warning, this is the part of the podcast where we are really royally going to shit on Ohio State. So if you're a Buckeyes fan, we're sorry. Not really, but
Yeah,
um,
no, we're not sorry at all. Suffer.
so first of all, we're finally getting to see Tennessee versus Ohio State for the first time in a long time. I don't know when the last time we ever got to play them, but
We played them at Neyland, and I think it was like 7-ish years ago, maybe, and we beat them.
did we?
Yeah, we beat them. It was like
See,
20-14 or something like that.
let's see.
I'm looking it up.
I don't remember how many. I might be wrong in the years, but I know that the score is
They
pretty
only they
accurate,
only
pretty
played them.
close.
We only played them once in '96.
Oh, longer. Yeah, I was wrong
It
then.
was in the Citrus Bowl, and we beat them. So
You got one part right.
yeah, you got one part right.
Yeah, I think the score was like 20-14 or something like that. It was like a touchdown was one.
But when this game first got, it wasn't officially announced till last week, but the week before they pretty much said that we'd be playing Ohio State, which we all figured. But at first I was a little nervous about it. There's parts of me that still is, just because it's Ohio State and it's that big name. But I think Ohio State is a lot more scared of us than we are of them. It's clearly showing because they're, uh, sorry, I'm going to have to say it, dumbass athletic director has been clearly showing that. First of all, I've been seeing fans making maps to be like, if we win after we plant the flag in the field, we're going to carry their field goal to this river, and this is the map layout of how we're going to carry it out, and everything. So they're getting pissed off about that, the possibility of us ripping their fucking field goal out of the field. Um, which probably won't happen because it's a away stadium, but still would be hilarious. Um,
I mean, let's be honest. That senator is a little pussy. He's so soft.
I'm,
Let's make it a felony. What?
oh no, you're
Like,
talking
all
about
right,
you're
cool.
you're talking about planting the field and the
Oh
flag in the
yeah,
center of the
planting the
field.
flag. Yeah, when I seen the senator was doing that, I was like, well, you know what we ought to do then? If they actually make that a felony, we ought to make it a felony to wear Ohio State merchandise in Tennessee. It's the same logic. Stupid.
But man, their fans are all over the place. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
They're
Twitter,
mad.
whatever. They're everywhere calling us dumb trailer trash rednecks and all that shit.
I
And
mean, they got to hype themselves up somehow. I mean, some of them are really mad though that because they're like, we're being called soft because of these, because of our coach and because of our senators trying to make it like one guy was saying he said he's never felt so sick being a fan of his favorite team.
then, oh man, the thing that gets me, especially about their athletic director, he came out and said if you are reselling your ticket, especially like for like season ticket holders, they get special pre,
Yep.
purchase things, whatever. And that's for both teams. They both have like specific sections laid out for them. But he straight up said, if you're reselling your tickets, do not resell them to Tennessee fans because they're coming to take over our stadium. And it's like,
Yeah.
are
Oh
you
yeah, we
really
got
that
like the whole
scared?
damn state coming for him.
To me, it's just like, are y'all really that scared of Tennessee? Like y'all, when y'all talk about Tennessee, you're like, oh, it's just Tennessee. But now you're like, we need to do this, 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 and that, and trying to take every precaution to not get us to win. And Lord knows, the refs are probably going to be absolutely garbage. But with the fall, it sounds like the fall of Ryan Day is happening. Like I'm hearing a lot of, especially like at work, we have some Ohio State fans, and they're all saying that they want Ryan Day out no matter how this season ends up and everything. So that could be an effect. Plus, their offensive line, who got shredded by Michigan, an unranked Michigan, is down 2 starters, and they won't be in the game. So we're going to have our fresh 8, 9 people deep defensive line coming in and out, shredding up that offensive line. And if we play a lot better than Michigan's defensive line, which we have all season, they're going to be it's going to be crazy. And I'm telling you, if Tennessee makes it to the quarterfinals against Oregon, there's a possibility we beat Oregon too. If we beat Ohio State, we have a chance to beat Oregon because Oregon only.
Honestly, I think we dog walk Oregon over Ohio State, in my opinion. I think, and the only reason I say that is because I don't think that they have any idea what it's like to play an actual elite Tennessee team.
Oh no, I'm not going to put past Oregon. I mean, I'm not saying that they're like insane. Yeah, they're the only undefeated team left in the year. But I've said it a couple times this week. I feel like Oregon is like the media's favorite team this year, especially with like, and I know how Caleb specifically you might feel about this, but um, Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback for Oregon, he got to the Final Four of the Heisman, right? And Shador Sanders should have been in the Heisman over him. I'm saying that first and fully. First of all,
Yeah, I can
Shador's
kind of agree with that.
Shador's stats is like a lot closer to Cam Ward's. Like Cam Ward had like over 100, like had a lot more passing yards than him. Had a lot like over 10 more passing touchdowns, and it's just like, I mean, I get why y'all put him in here, but there's no way. Like Shador had around the same stats as Cam Ward. Why is he in there?
Well, it's like that other guy that when you put his stats up against Travis Hunter's, it was
Well,
better than his stats. And I
well,
was just like, well, he should have been considered, I guess. He should have, he would have had a better chance at taking it than the other dude.
well. Another thing is, we talked about this before you showed up, but um, the reason why I don't think Ashton Genty won it is because the amount of fucking attempts this dude had. Like they are comparing his season to how good of a Heisman season Reggie Bush had, right? Because
Yep.
Reggie Bush won the Heisman and everything.
Yep.
But the thing is, Reggie Bush had 200 attempts. That's all he had was 200 attempts, and he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Ashton Genty had 344 attempts and was averaging 7 yards per attempt. Of course he's going to get that many yards. Of course he's going to get all those
Mm-hmm.
touchdowns off that many attempts. And Travis Hunter, this is my, I agree that he won it. I mean, a lot of people won't,
I
but
disagree with it.
when I know you,
But
I know
it's
you
not
do, but it's just my thing is he's been playing both sides of the ball greatly. He only got scored on one time in the whole year, and he played both sides of the ball predominantly. But the thing is Travis isn't the only good person on his team. Like people know Colorado for multiple people on the team, mainly him, Shador, and Shiloh Sander, right? But Ashton Genty is a team full of nobodies. I mean, yeah, the only person I can tell you that's even on Boise State's team is Ashton Genty. He is the sole person for that team. And yeah, that could also be his argument on why he should have won the Heisman.
or at least been considered more than
Right. Like it should like
what's his
it, if the race was a
name?
little
Never heard.
closer, if the race was a little closer, I could see people being a little bit pissed, a little bit more
I mean,
less pissed off, but
yeah, and you also got to factor in that if since he's not really surrounded by a great team like how Travis Hunter is surrounded by a pretty great team, him doing what he's doing, even if he is having to take 344 attempts, I mean, that's pretty solid stats for having a pretty shit team to be around.
right, but
So
I guess it's just my thing is when you're the sole like star of your team, and you're the only like you're the main person of your team, and you're pretty much doing everything. Yeah, I mean, of course he's going to have all those stats and everything, and of course he's going to be talked about in the Heisman race. But
well, also, I mean, if you think about it, if he is the only one that's able to do anything, and they played good teams, decent teams.
I mean,
Not SEC level, obviously, but decent teams for their conference, I reckon.
let me see. It's
Can I
kind
get my
of
thoughts
yeah
on him?
yeah. Go ahead, Rich. I'm looking up something. So go
All
ahead.
right. So here's my take on it too: is that you got to think that uh, Ashton we didn't really hear about over the years. So he's what, a senior,
He's a junior.
junior?
Yeah,
Okay. We haven't heard about him at all until this year. Who have we heard about all year though?
Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter's
Throughout
Travis
the
Hunter's been
time.
talked about since before he even went into college football.
Right, and we haven't with Ashton, so this is his first year being heard about compared to Travis. So I think just over the years amount, speaking, one's had a better showing than the other one has.
Yeah, like yeah. I mean, even at Jackson State, Travis was a menace. Then even when they had a 4 or 5 win season last year, but Travis still played like Travis. But
Yeah,
but Boise State, I think. I mean, right, the last game that they played was against UNLV in the Mountain West Championship. But I don't think UNLV was ranked at the first time that they played him because they played him in October 25th. But the thing is they played, I think, out of all these, I could be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. I think they only played one ranked team the whole season and they lost. And of course, it's Mountain West, so you got to give it some leniency because Mountain West don't play a lot of bigger people. But I don't know. I think a lot of I'm glad that they're doing the playoffs like this because we're having. I mean, think of the last two national championships. The last two national championship games ended in blowouts. Both of them. I mean, Michigan wiped the floor with Washington, and Georgia wiped the absolute floor with TCU. So I'm hoping that the national championship game is, especially with how the playoffs are this year, are two teams who will put up a fight. Like it's not a blowout. You know what I mean? Just because we got the best out of each conference, then we got the best after that. And I feel like the week are going to get, instead of there being only one game before the national championship, there's like four. Not legitimately, there's more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 games before the national championship. So it's just like I'm hoping we get a big game that's going to be back and forth. That's going to be a nail biter. You know what I mean? Not a blowout. But I think we're in for some doozies. I mean, any of y'all got anything else to say about college football before we move on from it?
I think the only game I would be interested in on this whole thing is if we get Georgia versus Oregon.
Yeah, that would be a good one. But honestly, I know this is a far fetch, but I think it'd be hilarious to get a Tennessee versus Georgia in the national championship.
Oh God, yeah, because
Eh,
that'd
I'm
give us a chance to get revenge.
I'm not saying it just to be biased, but I'm just saying it'd be hilarious.
I'm saying it to be biased. I don't care.
Now, I don't hate Texas, but I don't think Texas is making it to the national championship.
No, who are they supposed to play?
They play Clemson in the first round. Then
Oh,
if they beat them, they play Arizona State. Then then after that, if they win, they'll play the winner of Oregon and whoever.
They have the easiest path.
Yeah. Mm, I don't know. Penn State's got a pretty easy path.
yeah, but Penn State is. I mean, it's Penn State. Penn State's a good team now, but like nobody ever really talked about Penn State for a long time, really.
But like Penn State plays SMU, then if they win, they go to play Boise State. Then they'll play the winner between either Indiana, Notre Dame, and Georgia. I'm sure once we get to the Final Four, it'll start getting really like interesting. You know what I mean? But
Um,
I
I think
think
we can all take joy that Alabama's not in the playoffs.
yeah, I think we're all pretty happy about
I
that.
think we're all really happy about that one.
All right. So anybody else got anything to say about college football before we move on?
Negative Tango Ghost Rider.
Ridge, you said no.
Nothing.
All right. Well, on to the next segment, and we're pretty much going to be talking about wrestling for the rest of the episode, but we're going to start off with last night's PLE, which was Saturday night's main event, which if y'all don't know what Saturday night main event is, it started in not 95, but 85. It was just like, you know how most shows, specifically like our weekly episodes, will get people that you won't normally see in the big main event spots. Yes, you'll still see them, but not like it's not just them. But Saturday night main event was pretty much created for those stars to face each other. Like it's kind of like it's a PLE, but not a PLE. Like it's weird. Like yeah, now it's a PLE, but it used to be like a monthly thing, which I think they're going back to because they already announced the one for January.
They got
Oh,
30.
so they are going back monthly.
What'd you say, Ridge?
That's what it seems like.
They're doing at least 3 more.
Right, right. But the first match of the night was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, which was a really good match. Drew McIntyre ended up taking it, but it was a solid fight. For those who watched it, what'd y'all think about it?
That was a pretty good match. I mean, I think it went the way you would expect it to, especially with Drew coming back.
Yeah, it's Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. They're going to put on a good match.
Well, yeah, but I had a real big feeling that Drew was going to win, only because here's the thing: he just went away off of like some of his worst losses to deal with,
Right.
and here he comes back to fight a guy who he's never lost to in a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I kind of had a feeling that's how it was going to go. I really was hoping against it in a sense, but at the same time, I kind of knew that if he lost there, I mean, it was kind of like if he did lose there, it would have seemed like the nail in the coffin.
Right.
Kind of premonition type thing for him leaving. So it's good to see him back. I'm glad he's not feuding with Punk anymore. I'm so over that now. And yeah, it was a good match.
I did hear during the match about them talking about him going to SmackDown because they got this
someone else too, I think.
They got this whole like trade thing that they're talking about. Like they can trade people. But Caleb, I don't know what you're meaning, but I did hear that I've heard from people saying that it sounds like the OG Bloodline will be moving to Raw.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But especially they're gonna. It's already known that Roman will be at the January 6th Raw because didn't he just challenge Solo to tribal combat at Raw on January 6th?
Yep.
Maybe I think you're right. That way he could turn back the Ulafala.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point.
Which I think he's probably going to end up winning it back this time.
I'm sure.
I
'Cause
don't think so.
You
I
don't
think he's
so?
gonna. Well, I mean,
Go
unless
ahead,
they're trying
Caleb.
to push it so far out that the Rock shows up.
Yeah,
That's what I think's going to happen. I think that the Rock's going to show up at the Raw on
and cost
Netflix.
them and cost them the match because I mean tribal combat means anybody can do anything. So
Well,
Well,
David just
between
brought up
that
a good
and
point.
he just, from
well,
what I heard, he was a big point in them. Apparently, he was a big help of getting them on the Netflix deal. So if he is, I'm sure that one of the askings was that he would be there for the first taping of it.
wait,
Well,
so my main question, right, is tribal combat. Nobody is supposed to intervene, which kind of changed when we had the tribal combat match between Roman and Jay at SummerSlam
You
last year.
said it like we've had these before then.
No, but well, even when they marked out the rules, they said that nobody was supposed to interfere. But they did in that match, and they didn't really say anything about it. So I'm guessing we'll pretty much see another Bloodline versus Bloodline thing, but it mainly being Roman and Solo, which, like you said, Ridge, I think The Rock will intervene and
It's
probably,
set up for Roman
David
versus him at Mania.
yeah.
David thinks that the Rock will show up and that Solo he'll help Solo, and then Solo will take the Ulafalo off and give it to him, put it on him.
Or The Rock or Roman could beat Solo, and The Rock comes out
Yep.
and challenges him to tribal combat at Mania for the
Yeah.
Ulafala.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could play this.
But either way, going on to the
Zilla
next match.
Fatu.
The next match was Liv Morgan versus who was it?
It was Io Sky.
Io Sky.
Yeah. What the
It
fuck, man?
it just slipped my
How you
brain
gonna
for a second.
forget
All right?
about Io Sky?
Look, man, she's not my favorite like yours, but
She's not my favorite. Asuka's my favorite out of the women's, but Io is definitely like my second favorite just because she's really good.
let me guess, your third favorite's Kairi Sane, right?
No, she's okay, but like I don't really care for her wrestling style as much.
She was better in NXT, I think. But either way, the match was great. Um, I mean, honestly, it might be one of the lower ones of the match. I mean, of the card. But all the matches I think were great. They were all pretty good. Went back and forth. There was a part, honestly, I thought that Io was gonna win, but we figured that Liv was gonna get out of that and all that. And of course, when Liv and them were going out of the stadium, Rhea came out just to go face to face with Liv. That's gonna continue probably till Mania.
Yeah, they'll probably push that one pretty far.
If not, at least probably to Rumble. But
Which Mr. Ventura is also going to be at the Rumble. Everybody.
it was pretty cool seeing him on there. I didn't know how it would go at first, but he did pretty good.
Oh yeah, he did awesome, and I love Jesse Ventura. He's great. It's just he's great entertainment. He served our country. I mean, he's a great dude.
And he was the governor of
and he
Minnesota.
killed it. Yeah, I mean, he was a governor, and then he even fought our own government for their misdeeds. I mean, dude is legitimately an American patriot and a damn good wrestler in his time, and a really good announcer. So it's just good to see him back in the spotlight a little bit.
After the Liv Morgan and Io Sky match, we got the World Heavyweight Championship match, which was Gunther, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. Originally, it was supposed to be just Gunther and Finn Balor, but of course, they gotta add in Damian with him, especially in this thing with Gunther. Well, in this thing with Finn.
But Finn brought it on himself, so
yeah. But I mean, I feel like I always say this. I feel like Gunther always any match that Gunther's in, it's a slapper. Like it doesn't matter who he's facing. I feel like Gunther helps bring. I mean, they call him the ring general for a reason. I feel like every match he puts on, it doesn't matter who it's with, it's phenomenal.
We did forget to talk about Liv Morgan getting her nose busted.
Oh yeah, she did get a nose busted.
That was like I seen it happen, and I was like, oh, she's bleeding. I was like, that hit her right in the face. I was like, that I don't think that was supposed to happen.
But I feel like the majority of that triple threat match was mainly Gunther and Damien, and yeah, Finn had his parts in it, but look how dominating that finish to that match was. It was just like Gunther just straight up caught Finn and hit that damn whatever he does. I can't remember the name of the move, but the power bomb. My bad.
Oh yeah, that it's like a German power bomb or something like that. I can't remember
And
exactly what it's called.
yeah, that ending was just a pow, 1, 2, 3. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole match played out for a good while, but that ending was just like, boom, done. I was like, Lord. And it was good, but
I'm kind of surprised there's no shenanigans in that match.
yeah, me too. Honestly, I thought
That was
they was gonna. I mean, triple threat's technically no disqualification.
right. I was
Well,
expecting.
to me that just says that you know, Damien has, or not Damien, Finn has been kind of sowing some serious discourse between, him and Dominic, and that's that's not gonna make Liv and the rest of them happy. So of course it's gonna be,
Right. What was you
kind of.
saying? What was you saying, Ridge?
Well, just to kind of piggyback off of what I think he was trying to get at was that I was expecting with that match, I was expecting Dominic to come out and cause the match for Finn.
Oh, or I mean, yeah, of course we've been watching the fallout of the Judgment Day since SummerSlam, technically. So I mean, before then, but that's when it like truly started to completely fall apart. But yeah, it's great match. I think them adding Damien in it probably was for the best. Though I love Finn Balor so much, I just felt like the way Finn
Well, they
Balor gets
added
down.
in they really added in Gunther
Yeah, technically, yeah. I mean,
because originally it was supposed to have been just Damien versus Finn.
well, originally it was supposed to be Gunther versus Finn. Then they added in Damien. It was supposed to be a world title match between Gunther and Finn. Then they added in Damien like Monday or something like that. But then after that, we got the inaugural uh, women's U.S. title match. Mention versus Chelsea Green, which Chelsea Green took it, which I kind of called whenever it even started. I felt like Chelsea Green was going to be a cool person to win it the first time. I feel like she's somebody who is. I do feel like she's somebody who's overlooked just because of her character.
Well, her character, she does really, really good. Actually, I mean, she's got that like I'm into myself, and you're all just peasants, and she
Right.
does it really good. She's a really good heel, and I mean, Michin hasn't really been in WWE. I don't think long enough to really hold that title immediately. I think it's going to take her
Yes,
about a
yeah.
couple
Yes,
more
she has,
years.
Caleb.
I don't think to hold something new like that. I just feel like Chelsea was the better option.
I mean, I agree with that, but Mention's been in since the Mae Young Classic, and that's when Rhea Ripley made her debut.
Yeah.
So
Listen,
Well, it's
just
just she's obviously she's not there. She's not ready for it yet. I don't think.
if you don't remember, Mention was previously known as Maya Lim, or I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But now she's Mention, which I believe was her independent name. Um, I think she would have been a good person to win the title, but I do think Chelsea Green was the better option. I did. I love. Like I never fully watched. I guess fully paid attention to Chelsea Green, like wrestling style. It's very like her husband. If you don't know, her husband is Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder. Um, she does the Long Island leg drop thing, whatever, and she was like doing his LI thing that he used to do, and even her gear had the one leg that was all the way down to her ankle, the other one's like up to her hip. Like, I love the call outs to her husband, and honestly, I hope that's somebody that we could possibly see in the Rumble, but just because I think it'd be cool. Um,
Mikey.
Yeah.
Was you trying to talk a couple of times?
Not recently. I'm afraid I don't have too much to add to the conversations because I do a lot of working and then immediately going home.
Gotcha. I didn't know if I had
I'm
heard.
I'm with that. I understand.
I think it was David in the background you heard, Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
It
David in the
was. It
background.
was.
I've been listening and trying to think of where I can contribute to the conversation, but I haven't seen any of these matches, so I can't give too many opinions on them. I don't have opinions to give.
Right.
Yeah.
But either way, it was a great match. I'm glad that we got somebody solid for the first United States Women's Champion, and I'm guessing that they'll possibly either crown the first Women's Intercontinental either on the first Raw of the year or at the next Saturday Night Main Event. One of the two, I'm guessing. But the next.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Go ahead, Rich.
To me, my thought on that match is that either way, I would have been happy with either one of them winning. I think that they were both as deserving
Oh yeah.
as one or the other. So either way, I think it was just it was more so a match for the fans where we was going to be happy with whatever the output was going to be.
And I
think that they both worked hard leading up to it,
yeah.
and since the start of 2024, they both had great matches going into this. So
yeah.
I think it was.
That's what I was getting onto about Minchin. Is Minchin has had a great year for herself when it comes to matches, and she's actually showing that she is a great wrestler, and that's what I'm loving that they're bringing in the United States and the Intercontinental title for the women is because we're used to seeing the Becky Lynches and the Rhea Ripleys and the Liv Morgans and all them top superstars like Bianca and all that, but now we're finally getting a mid-cart belt. I mean, yeah, we're back in the era where the mid-cart belts actually mean something now. But I'm just glad that more women, like people like Minchin and Chelsea Green and probably Piper Niven and all them other fantastic female superstars we're going to be able to see more out of them instead of just having the typical women's world heavyweight or the women's WWE title match,
I do have a question. How long does Tiffany Stratton have left before she just loses her ability to cash in?
The Nets Money in the Bank.
I was going to say she's got a minute left.
It's always a one full year, like one full 365
Yeah.
days.
I just couldn't remember how long she's had it, and I'm like, she's got to be getting ready to cash that in like really soon.
I expect it to probably either be a first night of Raw. I mean, the first Raw of the year or WrestleMania.
That's what I was thinking. I think they'll push it to WrestleMania.
You want me to give you my prediction?
What's that, Ridge?
I think what's going to happen is for the WrestleMania, Nia Jax will end up facing off against Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair will end up winning the title, and then right after she wins the title, Tiffany will cash in on her.
Yeah, I could see that.
And they'll set up a big feud between those two.
Well, I mean, they've already been kind of sowing the seeds of that feud anyway, with how Nia was kind of treating her, and you could see in Tiffany's face that she was like almost ready to do it, and she's almost done it a couple times. So
even
I think she's getting ready to really turn on Nia, and I think they're gonna wait for it to be a shocker moment.
Even on SmackDown, when she was going out for the final match against Minchin for the U.S. belt, Nia was trying to be like, you don't need that Money in the Bank briefcase and all that. You need to get this U.S. title belt so you can have gold around your waist and just forget about that briefcase. 'Cause after you win that belt, you won't even need it. She's trying to talk her down about the briefcase. And they've also hinted about Tiffany going after Liv.
Yeah.
But I feel like especially with this Rhea Ripley, because they're wanting to give that title back to Rhea.
Oh yeah, she deserves it. She's earned more than. I mean, she's done more than her fair share to earn that.
I mean, honestly, she hasn't been beaten clean for it. I mean, she lost it because she was injured. So
she had to give it up. And then it was interference or something on one of them, wasn't it?
Well, that was when the Dom thing happened at SummerSlam.
Yeah, from the Dom thing. Yeah. So I mean, it's not exactly been clean losses.
But we'll see where that gets to. But like I was getting to, the main event of the night was Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens had a heel turn after Bad Blood because Cody teamed up with Roman, and he felt like that Kevin Owens has spent this 4 years fighting the Bloodline and Roman, and now that Cody, who is one of his best friends, has been there for Cody's biggest moments, helped him and all that jazz, turning and helping Roman, he felt like that was a big kick to the face. So that's why he had his heel turn and is having this thing with Cody. And they had a super solid match. Of course, I expected that. Cody and Kevin, two of the best tactical wrestlers in WWE right now, and I mean they put on a show. And I don't know if y'all saw, but after the show went off air, Kevin Owens attacked Cody and did that pile driver that same pile driver that he
Yep,
did on
the band one.
that he did on Randy, and Cody had to be stretchered out of the arena. So we'll see
And you
that.
saw Triple H pushed him.
Yeah, Triple H straight up pushed his ass like
Like pushed him like he was ready, like I'm about to get back in the ring with you kind of push.
Yeah, I honestly for a second I thought they was about to start a brawl, and I was like, hold up, we about to get
I was
Triple
like,
H
hold
back.
up, Triple H about to get in on it for once. Oh my gosh.
I was about to be like, Hunter, please, not the pacemaker.
For real, yeah. I don't want. We need Triple H to be protected at all times.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd like to see Triple H do one more match, we know he can't.
I am certain that the man is taking every necessary precaution he needs to ensure his health and safety.
Of
Oh
course,
yeah, I
mean,
know he is. He
if he
said
was
that
it,
health scare really changed how he viewed his life.
oh yeah, and man, I don't know if y'all seen any of these videos, but I saw a video where it was showing like in the middle of like one like Triple H's last big runs, especially like with the authority that he had, with
Yep.
Seth and Roman and all that jazz. But he was like in the middle of a match, and he like you could see him like he literally like had to take a seat in a steel chair because I guess he had like a heart flutter or something like that.
Yeah, that's when he had the issue, and then after that he went to the hospital because something was wrong, and that's when he found out what he had. And
No, he did more matches after that. I think the last
yeah, he did, but
I think the last
it
match
took a while
Triple
to
H.
get the results back. I'm certain, but he was, I guess he felt fine, so he kept doing it, and
I
then
think
when he found out, he had to just quit.
I think the last match that Triple H did was that Brothers of Destruction versus DX match at Crown Jewel
Yeah.
some years ago. But
I thought his last match was the Batista match.
no, I don't think so. Hold on. I swear it was the DX versus Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, because Batista had already been retired basically from WWE for a little bit, I think, before that match.
Triple H's last. Oh no, let's see. Triple H's last official match was a tag team match in Japan in 2021. I guess it might have been like a house show. He had like a tag team match with Shinsuke, and they faced Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe.
Well, that's pretty
The
cool.
most odd mix you could possibly put together.
Hey, but that's that's actually really cool,
And
Samoa Joe is a fantastic wrestler.
I think his last match was supposed to be against Randy, and well, that was his last like official match apparently. But some people dismiss it as like a fight rather than an official match. But either way, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens was a solid match. Like I said, you can't go wrong with either or, and especially with both of them working together, and they are both very seasoned vets. Cody did come out with the Winged Eagle belt, which I knew was going to happen because earlier in the week there was a video where Triple H gave him a suitcase, and he was like, one night only at Saturday Night Main Event. Remember, only one night only, and he got to come out with the Winged Eagle. I was honestly the only other thing I was hoping that would happen in that match is Cody was going to wear like the polka dot to honor his dad or like wear something to honor Dusty, especially with it being Saturday Night Main Event. And, Dusty was a big part of Saturday Night Main Event back in the 80s. And but all around, fantastic pay-per-view. Um, I think, for what it was, 5 matches, it was a great show. I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter trying to talk down about it and say that Triple H is a fraud because they said that all that Saturday Night Main Event was a glorious house show or a glorified house show.
What?
Right. I think those people are so fucking stupid.
Yeah, they don't realize what Saturday Night Main Event was. Like, they obviously have never watched old school wrestling if they don't understand what that was supposed to be about.
Right. And it's like I said earlier, Saturday Night Main Event was made for stars versus stars instead of being like seeing somebody like Candice LeRae have a one-off match against Piper Nivens or something like that. Like this is the show where they bring stars versus stars, and it's like the big people versus the big people without being a super detrimental, meaningful match. I mean, great meaningful matches for this, and that's what I love that they did for this is they made it like it's its own PLE, like yearly PLE, and they gave it that hype and they gave it that energy, and I think it went over great.
And I mean, just the intro to it alone. I mean, they did literally the same. They did the same art style graphical set, but it was all freshened up, and it just looked so good. Same old theme. They had the old W up there, even though it didn't have the F, because
Right.
World Wildlife Foundations are obviously soft. So,
but I love the call outs that did. The guy, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that was talking with Jesse Ventura throughout the whole show before the main event, he was even called out that he was wearing
it wasn't Joe Tessitore, was it?
It might have been. I can't remember.
I think it was. Yeah, it was Joe Tessitore.
But he was.
Yeah, and Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee get to come back. That's always a great time. Pat McAfee, I love that man on the commentary table. I love that man in anything, honestly. But the guy.
He makes me laugh.
The guy was dressed up like Mean Gene. Then Jesse Ventura was dressed up like he normally did with that leather jacket, and it had snake skin, and he pretty much said a joke towards Jake the Snake, saying that it was made out of Damien.
Yeah, he said that he stole his snake and made that jacket from him.
Yeah, I think that's what I said. Jesse Ventura coming back, I think that was a big W. I think the whole show was great. On the real, I give the show. Be at Royal Rumble. I give the show a 9 out of 10. At the lowest, a 8.5 out of 10. But I think it deserves a solid 9. For Bridge, what do you give it?
It was all over. So as far as I could tell, it was a pretty well put together match or show. I almost said match. Give it about 8.5.
Solid. Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 only because I'm so nostalgic. They did this, in my opinion, the most perfect way. I mean, you had Coco Beware there. You had Jimmy Hart there. You had so many. Yeah. I mean, Tito Santana. And I mean, you had a lot of people there. And it was the atmosphere was great. They did all the vintage look, but update, just so refined. And it was just something cool to see since, the Triple H really knows what he's doing. You can tell. You can tell he really.
I think the only thing that takes it down for me is I was hoping that they would give it a more retro entrance instead of doing like how they've done for like SummerSlam and overseas PLEs and stuff like that. I was hoping for more of a retro entrance or like a better like stage. But
the ramp was pretty good. It was narrow like it used to be.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We noticed that the red, white, and blue ropes, dude. I mean, yeah. I was like, they bring that back now, but I'm still gonna be behind that fanboyness of bring back the Winged Eagle. It's the best belt.
So I did hear that whenever Raw comes to Netflix, that they're going to start bringing back better stages because I know they're saying that we're getting a new set
Yeah,
whenever Raw
I heard they
hits.
took a vote.
So I'm excited to see what we get with that. I mean, I've been all right with this like smaller screen, whatever, instead of having that big one that we've had for the past few years. But I feel like John Cena said back in 2012, WWE's stock was at $11, and now with all the stuff that we've had happen, especially with Roman and everything, now WWE TKO's stock is up to $117. I mean, that's mean like per share, of course. But it's like, this is the biggest WWE's probably ever been. It's
Even Jesse Ventura said it.
yeah,
I mean, he said 40 years and it's better, it's bigger and better than it's ever been before.
right.
Someone who knows the business.
Back in the day, it used to be you were a nerd or you were an outcast if you liked wrestling. Now it's like everybody likes wrestling. So I'm glad we're getting to the point where it's. I mean, of course, for us it's different because we've always been into wrestling, but it's glad that we're getting more recognition from people who didn't like wrestling before. But going on from Saturday Night Main Event, we did want to try to pick our own brains at what we think is going to happen on the first Raw of the year. Ridge, I know you're big on this, so I want to get your takes first. What's some things that you expect or hope happens on Raw January 6th on Netflix?
All right. Well, I expect that we're going to have John Cena make his return,
Of course.
obviously, because he did say something about that at whatever his last showing was. It was that he was going to see him there.
Right, we expect that, yeah.
And I also expect him to announce that he's going to be one of the entrant numbers or whatever you want to call it for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Do I think he's going to win the Rumble? No, I think he will more than likely end up going into the Elimination Chamber and winning that to set up his WrestleMania match. And I do believe it will end up being against Gunther. I also think that during this Tribal Combat, we're going to see the return of The Rock, and he's going to be setting up his feud with Roman to be a matchup Mania as well of him versus Roman.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else will we get? I think we'll end up getting Punk versus Seth as one of the matches.
Yeah, I can see that.
Uh,
I mean, I'm expecting the matches for this card to be like big time PLE type matches.
yeah. I imagine Becky Lynch will return too.
Yeah, I'm sure she will in some fashion. But I heard that she'll be coming back with a new persona. Like I'm hearing that she will be possibly coming back heel.
Who?
Becky.
Oh, okay. Well, I could see that. That'd be that'd be interesting, but I feel like some of the people that have turned heel lately, I think two I was talking about earlier, I think two of them that I just felt like being a heel didn't really help them any career-wise.
Well, Becky doesn't need help with her career. She's already
Wait, did you say
at that level that she doesn't even need a title.
Did you say that you don't think Becky being heel has helped her career?
No. I said that there's two people that I was talking with David about earlier that that had just turned heel, and I was like, it does. I fear that it's not helping their career really any.
Oh, I was about to say, bro.
Yeah, no. I agree. I think a heel turn for her, we'll have to hope and pray that it ends up being a really good one, because I've seen too many times where a heel turn can kill a career.
Well, my thing is, when Becky first turned into the man, right? Like whenever she had the man persona, that was a heel turn. Like when she turned on Charlotte at SummerSlam and all that, it started her big moment. Like, yeah, Becky was big before then, but that was when people think of Becky's greatest run, it was when she was the man and when she had the two belts. Because, yeah, she eventually became more of like a how CM Punk was in 2012, 2011, where he was like heel and face in the same time, kind of like the in between. But she definitely
Yeah.
that if she has another if she comes back as the man, cool. I'm solid for that. I just hope it's not big time Bex. I think that whole persona was over my head at least. I mean, she had a great run with it, especially the couple title runs she had with it. But I just felt like I don't know. I felt like she was trying to play into Seth's persona more than her own. Like with Seth getting the big fancy clothes and all that jazz. I felt like Becky tried to lean too into that as well. That could be just a hot take, but I don't know. That's just me. I prefer the man persona. I prefer
Yeah,
Becky
I
when
agree.
she's hard ass balls to the wall Becky Lynch, not big time Bex.
I think eventually
Texas.
will lead to Becky versus Rhea for Mania.
That could happen too because that's what I mean. That was Mania last year, so it
You're
could
right.
happen. It could happen. What
Uh,
what was you saying, Mikey? You
Oh, you kept saying big time Bex, and I just said Bexus, Bexus.
Now, I will say there is one performer I would love to see return on the debut for Netflix on Raw on Netflix.
We're still getting your turn. Ridge is still in. Oh, I'm going to y'all individually, see what y'all want.
Oh,
But Ridge, you got anything else to say? I know you was saying something a second ago.
yeah, the only other thing, and I'm sure we can talk more so about this at the end of this conversation, lead into another conversation with it, is just according to how many surprises we get during this, or how big they try to make this and the next three Saturday night main events. What's this going to do to the Royal Rumble? I think that if we have too much going on here, we won't have enough surprises for the Rumble. Like if we get Becky Lynch here, if we end up, for some reason get Alexa Bliss here joining the White Six again.
Right.
There's different things that could end up happening that just take away from the Rumble.
I hope it does it. I mean, I could see where your fears are coming from with that. I mean, I don't think it will, but we know how this industry is. It good. It could. It. So I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did though. But Caleb, go ahead and tell what you want to happen since you was about to say it anyways.
well, I want to start. I'll start with that one. So for Raw on Netflix, it I would be okay if this person didn't show up and they waited till the Rumble, but I would be okay also if they showed up at that event, and that would be Asuka.
Yeah.
She's been out with a knee injury, had surgery. She's been gone for a while, just rehabilitating and everything. And I feel like it's been far too long since she's been back in the ring, and I'm ready to see her come back. I'm really hoping that she comes back during Raw Netflix and solidifies that she's going to be thrown in the mix, maybe
Honestly,
for like or try to go for a title since EO couldn't do it.
I'm hoping she comes back either. If she comes back heel, I at least hope she's going to try to break away from Damage Control. I feel like, I mean, I think her run with Damage Control has been fine.
If she does come back heel, she needs to kind of take inspiration from Shinsuke's
Yeah,
big
that'd
heel
be
turn he's done, because Shinsuke's got it down now. I think this form of Shinsuke is right where he needs to be.
well. The thing that she's doing, the Karma, I can't remember what it was called, thing that she's been doing
Yeah,
for the last couple years. I think that's a great thing for her. I just felt like it's been wasted in Damage Control for her being second fiddle or
yeah.
even third
And then
fiddle.
also injuries take time away from it too. And if it doesn't if it's not already sitting and stewing the right way, then it's not going to get any better with you being gone.
Right.
So,
But
uh,
I could see
yeah,
it.
I agree with that.
But what else you got?
I will say this: I'm not exactly happy about CM Punk versus Seth Rollins being that match that they want to do. I was really kind of hoping that they would push it to the side and make it seem like Seth Rollins is actually that afterthought that CM Punk says, "I never think about you at all, bro."
Right.
Until the right moment where Seth Rollins comes up, defeats him at WrestleMania. But that's how Punk gets his WrestleMania match. That would, to me, would mean more in that kind of a match. So
I could see where you're going with that.
you see
But
what I mean? I feel like this
I
kind of match
I do think
they
it's
should
I
push
do
it
think
to the
it's a Mania
side.
level. I do think it's a Mania level match. But
Yeah.
like I was saying a couple minutes ago, is the first Raw on Netflix is going to be borderline PLE,
Yeah.
especially
And
with the level of
I think
matches they're
the
going to
reason
have.
they're doing that is probably, I think the main reason they want to do it that way is so that there's not too much time in between some seriously good things happening,
Right.
because they don't want to make the business model seem stagnant or stale.
Well, you also got to think there's going to be a lot of new eyes on this. Is what they're
Exactly.
this
Exactly.
big
So they're wanting to pull out all the stops to
Netflix.
grab their attention and get them, invested in it.
But that's also why you didn't have like a lot of backstage segments or anything with the Saturday Night Main Event, is because this was on a completely different channel, trying to target newer faces as well.
Yeah. And I think that maybe they pushed it too far by doing the Seth Rollins and Punk match immediately, but we'll just have to see how they treat this match. Maybe Drew McIntyre gets involved again and we all get mad because we're tired of that,
Well, the thing is
But I wouldn't be
they've been
surprised if some
they've been
bullshittery happened
they've been
and it
pushing
caused it to push it.
they've been pushing Seth versus CM Punk since Punk first returned. But
Oh yeah, but that was that reaction from Seth was real because he didn't know he was going to be there.
But also the thing is when Punk got injured at Rumble, he
Yeah.
had to be out for so many months. We had to take a back seat to that feud.
Yep. And so they pushed it, but then they pushed it with Drew, and they pushed that one. I think they pushed that story way too long.
I mean, they did, but the fact that
they milked that story.
I feel like that Hell in a Cell match that they did was worth it in my opinion, though.
It was that, yes, it was, but like I feel like the stupid turnbuckle match.
Oh yeah, I do agree with that.
Was so fun. I mean, it was cool. Yeah, it was the Four Corners match. It was a cool concept. The match was good, but it made the match seem less genuine.
Right.
I just felt like too much bells and whistles. So if you go to buy a car, you want all the bells and whistles, but you don't want any extra stuff that's just there that's useless.
I feel you.
So, but we'll see how that goes. And then I think what I would also like to see happen would be The Rock to show up.
Yeah.
And interfere in the match. And I don't know how it's going to go. We've talked about ways it could go. We'll see how that happens. But I think he will definitely show up during that match.
Word.
And I also want to see what's going to I think we're going to be getting something big with Kevin Owens. That Triple H is going to hand down some justice of some sorts.
Yeah, we can see something like that happen.
I think that they may push it to that to where, and I told David, I said, what if, KO's knees are starting to have issues and like he realizes, he's going to have to start taking a back seat soon. What if this is his like you're fired match coming up here in the next year or two from all this? Like he's pushed this heel and he's going to stay that way.
Same.
Yeah,
Bet money.
They're gonna have to like. I think I heard what David said. I think he's gonna have to have
Sammy
a run. He's gonna have to have a run against Sammy. I think for his swan song.
I think that would be his finals if he was run it with Sammy.
Yeah.
And that would solidify it. If they set that up, then I'd say everybody needs to be prepared for him to retire because he may be having.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, if you did notice, he wasn't wearing shorts. He's actually wearing compression tights this time around.
That's what he used to wear in independent scene. So
yeah, and I feel like maybe that was a way to because that probably does help his if his knees are having issues like Stone Cold's would have been having, then I mean
Right.
that compression will help you in the match. So
Word.
that was one of the things I brought up when I saw he was wearing those. So I mean, I hope we get to see what exactly what retribution is going to get handed down from him using that banned move 3 times now.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Triple H pushed him. So I mean, they're pushing something big with him.
All right, well, Mikey, I know you probably might not have as much as we are talking about, but you go ahead and say what you want or would like to see happen at Raw January 6th.
Well, I will say, as I was listening, I found myself kind of nodding along to what everyone was saying, but a lot of what Ridge said piqued my interest. But at the same time, I really would like to see Triple H lay down the law, brother. I just want to see it, Paul a bit. Come on. But I mean, it. I can't tell you for sure what I want to see. I can tell you for sure that, in my opinion, I think whatever we see will be great. I think it will be great. I wish I had. I wish I had more to say. I wish I had, time after work to be able to watch these things. But I'm curious to see what will happen with CM Punk. I'm curious to see, what will happen with John Cena, especially. He was a huge part of my childhood, especially one of my little brother's childhood. My little brother Aaron had that hustle, loyalty, respect shirt on every other day, and he meant it. He loved that so much. I am very curious to see what goes on with KO. I'm kind of with the idea. It could be this could be the you're fired match, because that's 3 times he's performed that illegal move. 3 strikes, you're out. Maybe
Yeah.
we could see. I don't know for certain, but I do believe it is going to be very, very interesting.
Word. So I guess it's my turn to give what I think or what I hope happens. I'm with everybody on the whole. I'd like to see The Rock. I'm sure we'll see him set up something, either the next chapter, the him versus Roman, or just setting up him versus Roman at Mania in general. Um, I'm sure that'll be interesting. John Cena, coming back to start his farewell tour. I think that's the thing I'm most excited for. Just being a John Cena fan my whole life, so it's gonna be sad, but seeing one of my personal favorites of all time have his swan song, I hope it turns out one of his best runs he's ever done. Um, Oscar coming back would be cool. I could see it being at Raw, but I also hope it's at Rumble. That'd be cool. But I do think it being at Raw could give it more like depth instead of just being at Rumble. Um, I do think Becky coming back at Raw will happen. I think that, to me, that feels like it's almost guaranteed, but it's not, you know. But we'll just have to see on that. Um, I do think the tribal combat match will end up in some kind of shenanigans. Especially with how these bloodlines work and the differences between them. Of course, we'll probably get the Tongans will probably come out first, and the Usos then come out, then probably Jacob, and it's going to be a shit show. We all know that. Um, I do want to see what the next chapter for Gunther is. I'm almost certain that it will be, honestly. What I just thought about that I think could happen? I think Goldberg is going to show up at Raw,
God, I hope not.
because especially what happened at
Yeah, I hate you so much right now, Ridge.
especially what happened at Bad Blood, and Gunther called out Goldberg, and I think we're gonna get a whole thing where he comes out and they're gonna spit at each other for a minute, then he's gonna be like, you know what, Gunther at Royal Rumble, you're next. And I think we're gonna get Gunther versus Goldberg in Goldberg's final match probably. Well, he'll probably end up saying, "You're the last," like he tried to say towards Brock. But I could see that happening. I did hear that Triple H told Goldberg's son that if he's ever interested, that just give him a call and they'll get him in there. So we'll
I
see.
think that'd be crazy cool.
We'll see. I don't know how much longer he's got in college. I know he plays for Colorado, so we'll see.
If he doesn't go into the NFL.
Right, right. But going to like the Rumble, Ridge was talking about the possibility of the big Raw getting in the way of Rumble. Um, I was telling him earlier, I think Joe Hendry will probably show up at the Rumble. I told him the possibility of Moose and of course, probably Trick Williams, Ethan Page, and some of those big headers uh, from NXT. I would like to see Nathan Frazier. That'd be cool, just because I don't know if any of y'all know. I know Caleb knows, but Nathan Frazier used to wrestle for Ego Pro here in Athens,
Indeed, he did.
and I got to see him do a couple matches. So that's sick to me. Like seeing people from my local wrestling thing, and nobody's ever too big, but to see somebody from my humble abode go on and to be a reoccurring tag team champion on NXT and hopefully eventually a
And I
world
mean,
champion.
very humble,
Oh yeah,
very small towns, like
I mean he's
towns
he's
people's
from he's
never
from
even heard
England.
of.
He's from England, but he came over here for wrestling. But he's also trained by Seth Rollins, so he's got the he's got the training. So I'd like to see him come up and hopefully get a push on the main roster. I'm not like super big. I want to see him maybe in the U.S. Championship or the IC title thing. But with how big him and Atsum is in NXT, I could see them coming up and having a main title or main card tag team run. Um, but when it comes to women's, like Rich said earlier, I feel like we're going to get more surprises in the Rumble for women than we are for men. Um, like Rich said, I think Alexa Bliss will show up in the Rumble. Of course, we're probably going to get Jordan Grace. I did bring up that Tessa Blanchard did just here recently sign with TNA, so I can see Tessa Blanchard maybe showing up in it. That'd be pretty big. Tessa Blanchard's always been a really big, independent women's wrestler, so that'd be cool. Um, I would hope, honestly, I feel like my biggest off the wall hope for the Rumble is AJ. I think AJ Lee could make a show up at the Rumble, or it could be at Raw.
He was
Honestly,
going to say Styles.
what?
Yeah, I thought he was about to say AJ Styles.
I mean, yeah, AJ Styles probably in the Rumble too, but I meant AJ Lee.
I don't know about him being in the Rumble after that injury. He'd probably still be out.
I don't know. We'll have to see. But
It's one of those injuries that can be real serious, especially in his age.
and honestly, hey, I'm thinking about I'm cooking with something here. It might not be the greatest thing in the world, but I think it'd be cool if AJ Lee shows up at Raw January 6th, right? Say AJ, I mean, we could end up having a married couple feud. Either way, whether it's Rumble or Raw, if AJ Lee comes back, we can have Punk and AJ versus Seth and Becky.
Miz and Reese.
Like they did the Cena and Bella versus Miz and Reese. Like yeah.
Or Flair and can't think of his name.
Who?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte and Andrade.
Yep.
Yeah. But I can see some kind of feud, like married couple feud happening in either way. I think that'd be a cool little thing to do. But other than that, my predictions. I will say I'll go ahead and say my predictions of who I think will win for both women's and men Royal Rumble. I think there is a possibility of Cena winning the men's Royal Rumble, but I think I'm with Ridge on. I could see Cena having to go through the Elimination Chamber to earn his spot at Mania. So for the men's, that might be a hard one because it's like, who do you want, you know, to face Cody at Mania? It's like, because I mean, yeah, I would like to see Randy versus John Cena at WrestleMania for a title. So it's like, it could either be like Elimination Chamber winner gets the title, whatever. But then they would probably try to push Cody having his rematch at Mania. But and they could do a triple threat thing. But I would like to see. I wanted to see Randy versus Cena at Mania, but we'll have to see with that. But I could see Randy coming back at Rumble instead of Raw and winning the Royal Rumble to face Cody at Mania as a heel.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Kevin Owens gets suspended, right?
Right.
Indefinitely. Doesn't come back till the Rumble, wins the Rumble to go face Cody.
You think he'll beat Cody at Mania? Have his
Possibly.
big moment. I mean, he did have his moment with Sammy a couple years ago, or last year, but he's not had his solo Mania moment, I guess you could say.
No, that's Solo that hasn't had his Solo.
Right. But no, that's a good point too. We'll have to see what they go with that. But so the last thing I want to do for the night, and I told y'all earlier, I want each of you to think of your top 5 wrestlers of all time in your personal opinion. We're not sticking to what the world thinks or what somebody else would think. This is your own personal beliefs. And I think I'm gonna go start off with Mikey. Mikey, I'll let you go first, bud.
All right. Let me get my list.
And like I said, if you want to have honorable mentions in there, you can. But what we're gonna do is, if there's a wrestler in here that we're like, whoa, you got them in your top 5, we might ask you to, and this goes for everyone. We might ask you to be like, why are they in your top 5? And like I said, we're not gonna judge anybody for their opinion because this is your personal belief. So, but go ahead.
Okay, in no specific order, we have specifically 2008 to 2010 Undertaker.
Nice. That's a solid one.
We have 2010 CM Punk.
2010 CM Punk? Are you meaning like Money in the Bank CM Punk?
Pretty much, just any time he was still using This Fire Burns as an intro.
Well, I was just saying that because Money in the Bank's 2011, but I'm not trying to, shoot you down. I was just, letting you know. But 2010.
I know what you meant. Just like any time, like.
Well, 2010, if I'm not wrong, it was either 2011 or 2010 when he did the pipe bomb. But either way, you're rightfully picking. So.
Kofi Kingston.
Nice. Hey, that is definitely somebody who was like, I didn't expect somebody to say. Can you tell us why you picked Kofi Kingston?
I can. One, the man's agility and acrobatics is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I love his old theme song.
Oh yeah, I mean when he did that whole Jamaican thing, it was awesome. It was awesome, especially as a kid. That was awesome.
We have John Cena, just John Cena, but specifically when he was specifically the hustle, loyalty, respect era, and that's out of love for my little brother Aaron.
Right.
He and I loved John at that time. He was a really cool dude. Aaron had the shirt. It was a good time. And Rey Mysterio.
It's a solid list. It's solid. I like it. Caleb, you up next, brother? Caleb,
Sorry, my freaking phone's freaking out.
you good?
Number one for me is 1997 to 2007 Undertaker.
Word.
I feel like his 97 when he when he made his debut back and it was 93, wasn't it?
I think
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
97. I
93
think
when he debuted the purple. It was 93 when he debuted the purple, right?
right. I think so.
I think it was 93 or 4. It was at a SummerSlam. And so yeah, from that point up until after the Ministry, I think was his best times. Number 2 for me is CM Punk, Pipe Bomb era.
Word.
Absolute just menace to society as a wrestler.
By the
Number
way,
3.
Undertaker's official debut was 90.
No, I
90.
mean his purple when he debuted his purple when he came
Oh,
back after losing to Yokozuna or
okay.
Yokozuna.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And then so CM Punk Pop Bomb era. Now number 3 is a little difficult for me because there's 2 people that come into mind. But if I'm gonna go with someone for number 3, I'm gonna go with Dean Malenko.
Nice. That's a solid pick.
Dean Malenko is probably one of the greatest wrestlers to have ever lived.
I
He
do,
was the best technical.
I
You
do
know,
I do agree that he's one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time.
he's not as forgotten as some wrestlers, but he's definitely more forgotten than he should be.
Right.
Oh yeah, and I was about to say that. Yeah, David just reminded me. My number 4 is 2009 Randy Orton, 100%.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You know, like he's got Ted DiBiase and he's got Cody Rhodes, and they're just freaking tearing it up in the Hell in the Cell matches and everything.
Well,
Crazy time.
when he was going around punting everybody in the damn head,
Mm-hmm.
that was legendary.
When he did that to Cena's dad,
Oh man.
ooh, and he really did it to him. I mean, that dude was. Guy got kicked out of the military, so I mean, he was in a different headspace then. Number 5, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, but because of his most iconic, personas, is Hulk Hogan, NWO, For Life, Wolfpack, all of it. I'm always gonna have to appreciate Hulk Hogan in my top 5 because the NWO is mine and David's like favorite faction of all time.
I,
Wolfpack being my favorite side of the faction, even though we're Sting fans,
I'm
huge
not gonna
Sting
hate.
fans.
I'm not gonna hate on NWO, like NWO Hulk Hogan. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's my one thing with Hulk Hogan that I really love the NWO Hulk Hogan. Like,
I think a lot of people got tired of Hulkamania because it had just gone on for so long. It was time for a change,
yeah.
And Eric Bischoff was the guy that made that, that idea with him that was like,
I mean, it was crazy whenever Hulk
no,
went from
it's right behind me.
this is a guy that was on Wheatie boxes and was known as an American hero pretty much, but whenever he turned, it was like a shell shock to people. So
Yeah, people they were expecting eat your vitamins, say your prayers. No, he comes out there and he's the bad guy. And he was a good bad guy. You can never ever doubt that.
I'll give you that.
Dang good back now, and like I said, the person that I was saying for number 3 that was tough would have been Sting. And the only reason I say Dean Malenko was just every single match that Dean Malenko's in is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Ridge, I'll let you go last. I'll go ahead and do mine. So this is in no particular order, just because it's hard to put these in order in my personal opinion. But my, I guess I'll say my number 5 will have to be The Undertaker, and it's just because I love Undertaker. He's always been one of the greatest to me. I mean, he wasn't as huge for me as for you and David, Caleb, but I love Undertaker. He is one of the greatest, and it's like you cannot not put him up there.
He's the reason WWE is actually still around, in my opinion. If he hadn't been loyal, I think we would have still had WCW. I think if he had went there, it'd have been over for WWF.
I'll give you that.
That he was. I mean, even Vince said that he has no idea how that would have went if he had left.
But I'm with Mikey. I'm in that like 2008 to 2012, 2010 era, like the big gold belt Undertaker.
I'm the Winged Eagle belt Undertaker.
But then I say my fourth. Shoot, it's rough. This is a rough one. I would probably go with Jeff Hardy, and I would specifically say 2008 Jeff Hardy, 2008 to early 2009 Jeff Hardy. Like
Jeff Hardy was one of my honorable mentions. He would be one of mine.
Real men cried when Jeff Hardy won the WWE Championship at Armageddon in 08.
Absolutely, we had that on DVD.
That match to me is still one of my favorite matches of all time, and specifically that run when he started really doing the face paint again, and he was known as the underdog, but the underdog finally got the belt, and the whole celebration is just, there's a special spot in my heart for that, and specifically for Jeff Hardy. Of course, Jeff Hardy's always been one of my favorites from any era, but specifically that era, Jeff Hardy will always live in my heart.
I was just telling David this little joke. Let's never forget that Sting was the original Jeff Hardy.
I'm not gonna get you on that. You're about right.
Have you seen his episode, the Sting, the Lost Tapes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like when I saw him talking about how he loved doing that and the way he was doing different stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was what Jeff Hardy took inspiration from. And then he also said, I think I'm going to stick with these colors. And I was like, whatever you say.
Then, so I'd say my third will have to be CM Punk. And I'm specifically saying the 2010 to 2013 era Punk. Well, I'll say halfway through 13 because when he had that heel run when he faced The Rock at Rumble and everything, I still enjoyed him at that time as well. But specifically the Money in the Bank, winning the WWE Championship and having it for so many days, and having that great feud with Jericho and the whole thing with AJ and Dolph Ziggler, like great times. Like I loved. It might not have been Dolph Ziggler at the time. It was more Daniel Bryan, but that era, CM Punk, to me that sticks with me more than most wrestling memories, just because that specific persona that he did, the best in the world, and which he's stuck with pretty much ever since. But I can't get over it. I love it. My second, I have to put Roman Reigns, up here. Specifically the Tribal Chief Roman when he came back and took the belt from The Fiend, and he started that legendary run. And the whole thing with all the bloodline, that whole storyline with the bloodline is one of the greatest stories in wrestling history, in my opinion. Predominantly up to the Cody Rhodes match, the final Cody Rhodes match. After that, I'm still kind of like back and forth with the OG Bloodline storyline. Not the OG, but the new Bloodline storyline. But specifically from when he first won the Universal belt and all the way up to him versus Cody at 41. Then my number one, it's hard not to put him up here. It's John Cena. And like Mikey said, that hustle, loyalty, respect, John Cena, the chain gang, the spinner belt, the coming in the Mustang at WrestleMania 23, that era John Cena when
it was hot.
Man, when he had that feud with Great Khali, and he had that crazy match at Judgment Day. I think it was either 08 or 09. That match was nuts. Think about that I Quit match was JBL, and Cena was bleeding everywhere type. But he won that match. That match was nuts. But just specifically that hustle, loyalty, respect, prime time John Cena era, like that I mean, just looking back at it, that's some of the coolest and some of the best stuff I think they've ever done. I mean, John Cena's the poster child. It was the poster child for a long time. And, before he had the hustle, loyalty, respect, he had the Dr. Thugonomics, and I love the Dr. Thugonomics. I think, honestly, if you don't know, that saved John Cena's career because
Yeah, I think that's it. That, in my opinion, that was my favorite version of him.
when Cena first came in, he was in that whole ruthless aggression era, and he would come out in like some trunks or something like that, and each show he would come, each color would be like coordinated with the most popular sports team in that city, and all that says. And what saved his career was he was in the back of a bus with like Rikishi and Rey Mysterio and a few other people, and they were freestyling, and he freestyled, and Stephanie heard it, and she was like, "Well, do a freestyle about this tuna can," or something like that, and he did it. So she was like, "Let's put you in this segment where you're changed, but you're freestyling pretty much." And he did it, and it blew up like crazy. And dude, some of the stuff that John Cena used to say is outlandish. I don't know if you ever heard some of the stuff this
Oh,
man used to
brother,
say.
dude,
Yeah.
some of the shit he used to say was so crazy. God, he used to go off.
Like
He used to get nutty with it.
like borderline The Rock back in the 90s. Like he used to say some crazy shit like that. And you know, I love when we get the little snippets of the Dr. Thugonomics that we get from here and there, and I'm sure we'll get one some point this year. I mean, just nothing crazy, just something. But like when he came back at that WrestleMania in New York, and he had the Babe Ruth jersey on, and he came out to the Dr. Thugonomics. I think is when he interrupted Elias or something like that, or faced Elias at Mania or something. But this John Cena, to me, he's the greatest of all time. I mean, Roman is close to being up there. I mean, honestly, even John Cena says that Roman's the greatest of all time, realistically to him, because he said that somebody who has this much, that he's done, then he's still got years ahead of him, really, if he wanted to. But John Cena's my goat. I'm happy I got to see him live a couple times, and shout out to Ridge. Last time I got to see Cena, it was front row, so that's something I always remember. But
This is his last house show too.
yeah, it was his last house show, but it was sick. But yeah, that's my top five. Ridge, you go ahead, brother.
This is in no order whatsoever. These are just names that came to me as soon as possible. All right. Yeah, of course, what I think was on everyone's list, The Undertaker.
Right.
First wrestler I ever seen, so. And first wrestler I ever had a t-shirt of, So, Taker, the first name that came to mind. And then you got Roman, which I'll take any era of Roman that you can give me,
I mean,
and I'll run with it.
you are the guy who has a Roman Reigns tattoo, so.
Yep. So, and then Edge. Edge is another one of them that I grew up watching, and I loved seeing him in the ring. And then Sting.
Word.
Sting was also one of the startup characters for me. First time I ever played a wrestling video game. I think it was a WCW Nitro or something. It was something for the Nintendo 64, and I remember I'd always go with him because he always had a baseball bat I could hit people with.
Yeah.
And then for my fifth, my last person is Alexa Bliss.
Oh, nice.
And the reason why is because Alexa Bliss was the first female wrestler I actually enjoyed watching.
Yeah, I know you've always been big on her.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of other women wrestlers that are really good, and the more I've seen them now, there's others out there, but just to me, that was the first one that I really sat down and watched a full match. So,
Right.
but I do have two honorable mentions I like to throw out there.
Okay.
First one's Bray Wyatt,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the other one's The Rock.
Word. And
Because,
go ahead.
sorry,
No, that's my bad.
I mean, you talked about his era where he would say just about anything and everything that he wanted to
Hmm.
during the Attitude Era, and then also one of the feuds that I like to see him in was him versus Cena.
Oh yeah.
That was one of my more so memorable matches of Cena's too. So
Right. Um, I forgot to mention my honorable mentions. I've definitely got to put Bray Wyatt up there. I mean, if you know me, Bray Wyatt's one of my all-time favorites, like on a personal, on a real level. Um, I mean, I'm a fan. I've been a fan of him since Nexus, the Husky Harris era, and I know he really didn't like being Husky Harris, but you know, when he came back with the whole Wyatt family persona, it just felt so like it was weird. You know, we've never seen anything like that, and for him to continue from the Wyatt family era to the Eater of Worlds, then onto the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse, which is to me his best work. I mean, yeah, Eater of Worlds was fantastic, but that era, the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend, that era was just so special. And especially when he got his final return at Money in the Bank, I remember we watched that live and I just couldn't help but tear up, man. That was special, and to hear him come back and to hear him say, he's finally back as him, he's himself. Like he's not, Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds. He was Wyndham Rotunda. Like that era is just so special to me, and I wish we got more. I think about him all the time. I think about what we could have got with him, especially with the Wyatt sits now. But he's definitely got to be up there, and I think another person that deserves to be at least up there for me is Finn Balor, but specifically the Demon King Finn Balor. Man, I mean, we haven't got to see the Demon like too often in on the main roster since he's been around on the main roster. We've got a couple great times since then, but nothing beats his NXT Demon times, dude. If you ain't seen any of his NXT run, he was the Demon a lot in NXT. And man, he got some of his most iconic moments in WWE is from the Demon in NXT. I mean, we had the NXT takeover in UK, and he came out as like dressed up as Jack the Ripper, and he came out as Chainsaw Charlie when he came out swinging that chainsaw around and shit like that. And just the Demon is like a force, and that's why Finn doesn't do it so much often, because he doesn't want to be known specifically just for the Demon. He wants to be known for Finn Balor. But the Demon is just, it's one of those personas that I can never look away. It'll have my attention at full fronts. He kills it every time, from doing his own makeup, and everything is just, well, he used to do his own makeup, but I don't think he does now. But still, the entrance is phenomenal. The design for the Demon is insane. The way the difference between the way he wrestles as Finn Balor and the Demon is more angrier, but also more precise and more adequated for, and is just amazing. But those are my honorable mentions. Caleb, you got any honorable mentions or anything like that besides Sting?
Well, honorable mention for me would be Goldberg, just because I mean, come on, you can't hear his
WCW,
theme
yeah.
and not chant Goldberg. And another good Macho Man Randy Savage, obviously, it would be another good honorable mention from me. But also Santino Marella. I don't care how goofy he is.
Hey,
I
no,
love
that's
Santino.
That's solid.
He's
dude.
iconic.
That's yeah.
I know. I love Santino. He's hilarious, and I don't care how how unrealistically goofy they made some of his matches. They were entertaining. You know.
And hey, dude, for somebody that they rolled it as he was just a random nobody in the crowd in Italy,
Yeah.
and they had him come out, and Bobby Lashley helped him pin Umaga for the Intercontinental title.
Yep.
Like, that was a great. I remember that. I remember watching that when it happened. My first house show ever, I got to see Santino face Chris Masters in a match. So
Wow.
that was pretty cool. But I like how Mikey also said Kofi. You know, I know that's kind
Yeah,
of off.
Kofi.
Kofi is not somebody I expected to hear, but it's such a real answer, especially for our generation. Like, not specifically, for our generation. Yeah, we've been watching wrestling our whole life, and we've pretty much started with the '90s and on forward. But Kofi Kingston, I'm speaking of that first house show I ever went to. I got to see Kofi live before he was even on the main roster, like on the main shows. So that's cool, and for somebody to say Kofi Kingston, and especially with how special his championship win at Mania was, like
Yeah.
that will always be a top 10 moment for me in WWE history, just because how much it meant. Just because for somebody like Kofi who had been there for so long and did so many things, actually got his moment, though it wasn't long, and we got that dumbass squash match against Brock Lesnar. Still think
Yeah.
I still think that Kofi's run was pretty iconic. Like,
Yeah. And I think my last honorable mention I'd have to say would be the Boogeyman. I
hey,
mean,
Dude, I totally
I
forgot his
love the
ass
Boogeyman.
existed.
the Boogeyman was cool, and
He gave me that
what
dog gave me a nightmare once when I
That
was
dude
little.
was nightmare fuel.
he's still around too, man.
Yeah, he still does it. He
He's
still does that stuff.
He's a
He's not
trainer, I
that
think.
old.
He's a trainer or something like that, and he
Yeah.
dresses up as the Boogeyman all the time backstage, just like
Yeah.
to scare people and shit like that. It's
He
hilarious.
dresses like that most of the time unless he's at home.
Yeah,
He's
but
almost always the boogeyman. He loves that character, and I mean, it's hard not to love that character because they literally utilized him very well. And then yeah, so he would be definitely honorable mention, but I think I'll go with one more final honorable mention would be Fit Finley.
yeah, Finley definitely deserves some love. I think one thing that not a only one of us brought up, and I think it's a great one, is Ridge bringing up Edge. You
Yeah,
know, we all everybody on this podcast loves Edge,
Oh
and
yeah.
Edge is a very special wrestler. Though I do think him going to AEW kind of dampened my love for him a little bit, but it doesn't take away what he had done previously.
well, I think he really joined AEW more just so that he could retire with his best friend,
and
have his
all,
best friend retire him.
yeah, but I don't know.
I was about to say, I think that's, I mean, like Caleb was saying, that's the main reason why I do believe that he went to AEW was because,
Christian,
those two have followed each other since day one in wrestling, just about,
right?
even
Yeah.
before WWE. So
I mean, I
it
understand
makes
why he
sense.
did. I understand why he did, but I don't know. I just feel like there's not been. I mean, he's had a couple great matches over there, but I don't know. There's just something about it.
I mean, there's only a handful of people there that are even really worth mentioning. Like, um, Sting really helped keep that company afloat. I'll say that he really did. Darby Allin, Kristen Cage, obviously. What's his name? MJF, Adam. Yeah, Edge.
Well,
Oh, Adam Cole. Yeah, Adam Cole. I
well,
mean, there's a handful of people in AEW that are good. It's just like I feel like they're contractually obligated to say that the best wrestler there because they really need people to really pay attention to them now.
they definitely, dude. They're having a taping of Dynamite
Oh yeah,
in Crossville.
they what?
They're having a taping of Dynamite in Crossville.
Did you hear that, David? They're having a taping of Dynamite in Crossville.
And it's
Sting has been back at
and
AEW already
the thing
once.
the thing is like the stadium that they're in or the arena that they're in is only a one level arena. Like it's not even.
Well,
It's
they
like
can't fill seats.
it's like the size of Knoxville Civic Coliseum type shit.
AEW started off hot, but it just hasn't gotten. It's been stagnant ever since, really.
Well, the problem with AEW is they're trying too hard to bring in these big people, then they run out of story to these big
Yeah,
people because they're bringing over too many big people too fast.
they're doing what WCW did, but quicker.
But like I said before, Ridge, you brought up Edge, and that's somebody that definitely deserves to be up there because I mean this is the rated R superstar, man. That specific run too. That when they did the whole Edge and Lita live sets thing and the whole run against Cena, that was a fantastic time. And even when he brought in the Edge heads, that was fantastic. But there's two more people that I think deserves to be at least mentioned, and it felt bad not having them in the top 5, and it always does. But Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Yeah,
I mean, Shawn Michaels is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time on a real standpoint, and so is Triple H. But them together as DX will always be top tier to me. Yeah, they both had phenomenal runs solo, but to me, DX is like, I mean, it's like how you are, Caleb, with the NWO, and I mean, I'm like that way with the Shield too. But the DX run, especially in the '90s, then the '06 run, those will always be some of my favorite moments.
legendary.
Some of my favorite moments
I
in
mean,
wrestling history.
they literally took over the company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's long term storytelling right there.
Right. Triple H is running the main card, and Shawn Michaels is over NXT, and it's wild that the people who used to be in the storyline against Vince McMahon is now running the company.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's awesome at the same time. And since they're wrestlers, they know how to respect wrestlers and the fans. I think they have a better business model than Vince could have ever hoped to have because Vince was greedy on some stuff, but he really just, I feel like Vince just didn't treat his wrestlers the way they really should have been treated.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all agree with that, especially now that everything's come out against him, and it's
Man,
pretty up there who he really is inside.
man. Speaking of DX, do y'all remember that last little run they had before the whole DX, like them bringing back Billy Gunn and all them? But do you remember when Shawn was working as like a cook or a chef or something like that, and Triple H had to show up at that? It was like an airport or a restaurant or something, but he like had to go back to try to talk him to get him to come back. And what had happened was he kept trying to convince him, and it wasn't working. Then this little girl was bitching at him for something with some food or something, and Shawn got mad and sweet chin music the little girl, and he was just like, "All right, yeah, I'm back."
Hey, what's your name? Stan. I just can't stand.
Dude, that whole segment where they go to Little People Court,
Oh my God, yes.
they had to
Oh,
go.
that would
Oh
never
my
fly today.
God.
But my God.
They had to
I'm
crawl.
gonna cry.
They had to crawl under the ring to get to like a whole new quote unquote universe from where Hornswoggle lived, and they saw, if you don't know, it was a Ty Dillinger or Sean Spears, however you call him, and um, it was Stan, and that's then he did the whole "What's your name, Stan?" and he sweet chin musicked him, and that was a great moment. And hell, you can't pass down the moment where they dump shit all over Vince, Shane, and the Spirit Squad. That whole segment where they came out dressed up as Shane and Vince and was mocking them. I just love cocks. And he's like, big ones, small ones.
Yeah, and then Shawn Michaels is dancing in the ring, and he just looks at stop. No, he falls over on his back,
that man, they just had some of the funniest moments in wrestling history.
and then they dumped feces on them when they came out.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, there's corn in it. That's great."
um, yeah. I mean, anybody else got any more honorable mentions?
Real quick, we mentioned the Brothers of Destruction. How we can't skip over Knox County Mayor.
Yeah, we can't bring. Yeah, Kane's got to be up there too. especially when he first showed up and he had that whole feud with Taker and all that jazz. That was pretty lit. Like that era, Kane was. Well, think about even Kane after he like got unmasked and was bald Kane for the first time for a while, and he went on a big ass run for that too. But,
Let's see. Another great honorable mention would be Matt Hardy.
well, yeah, you can. Matt Hardy. I mean, he didn't have as many not honorable, but he didn't have any big, like, super amazing runs like Jeff did. I mean, he had that whole thing where him and, like, he turned heel and he was the one that set Jeff's house on fire and made him lose his dog, and he was the one that set up the fireworks to go off and hit Jeff during his entrance, and they had that whole brother versus brother TLC match at WrestleMania, and that time I didn't really like that time with Matt, but that was the only like true solo time that I can think of until he did the broken Matt Hardy thing. But also he
What do you
had
think? What do you think your favorite storyline was from that era?
from like the early 2000s era.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I would probably go with like John Cena, like whenever like when they did the draft and he was the first draft pick for
oh
Raw,
yeah.
and they did like the whole like Chris Jericho highlight reel when he came out and all that. That was awesome.
I think for me it would have been Randy Orton and the Undertaker's whole storyline.
Oh yeah, where Undertaker came back in that coffin and the lightning strike nugget. Yeah,
Yes,
that
dude. I
was.
mean, chills.
I mean, hell, even Evolution. Evolution's run was
Yeah,
like the first run was fantastic.
yeah.
Honestly, going back with the Undertaker versus Kane at WrestleMania 20, when he came back as the Dead Man, when it was like right after Kane buried him alive, and he went from being, you know, the American Badass and went back to being the Dead Man. And to me, that specific Undertaker is like when it comes to like attire, that was like holy. Like the short, like his hair wasn't fully long, it was somewhat like towards his shoulders, and he had that cowboy hat instead of that typical hat that he had. I don't know. There was just something special about that Taker. He was wearing a tank top and the belt with the like. It was like different from what his typical dead man
Yeah,
attire
and he
is.
had the like slightly longer hair than he did.
Oh, his hair was a little shorter
Well,
during that
you know what I
match.
mean, from
Yeah.
coming from the American
Oh
Badass,
yeah,
where it
yeah,
was
yeah.
slightly longer than that, and it was like I thought that was a really cool look. It was different for me. I still, like I said, I'm a nostalgic person, so I'm always going to think that the purple fit, the when he donned that was like peak
Right.
Undertaker. That was his prom.
So, last question, and I just thought about this, and I think this will be a great thing to end the episode on. What, in you guys' opinion, what is the greatest WrestleMania entrance of all time? And Ridge, no, not Ridge. I'll let you think for a second. Caleb, go ahead.
I'd say the greatest entrance of all time for me personally is probably when me and David and the rest of us were sitting down and watching the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels for the final time at
Oh,
WrestleMania.
bro, I was gonna
Oh
say that.
man.
I mean, like you cannot like it was just perfect. Like it's that meme from like Homelander. Like it was literally perfect. I don't think they could have done any better with entrances for especially both of them. The way
Well,
they did it, the way the story was played out, it just fits so well.
are you talking about when Shawn came out like from the ceiling instead of from the floor? Like
Yep.
take now that was WrestleMania 25, if I'm not wrong. That was the
Yep.
one before
25.
last.
I think
No,
it was
it
25.
wasn't their last match. It was the one before last. But still,
That was the
that
that
that combo was nuts.
Yeah,
that was
dude, that
the
that
that
was
was
so
Shawn
heat.
Michaels'
I was
retirement
gonna
match
say
that I was
that.
talking about.
Well, Mikey, is that your answer too?
Yes, I was gonna say that. Caleb stole it from
I'm
me.
sorry, bro, but I mean, great minds think alike.
Uh,
Yes.
Ridge, what's your favorite WrestleMania moment, like entrance?
Favorite WrestleMania entrance?
Yeah,
Oh god.
because they typically do it big, specifically the bigger people.
Yeah. Oh man.
Here, I'll let you think on that, and I'll tell
Yeah, you
mine.
shouldn't have came to me because I thought we was just me and the entrances in general, and I had a
Nah,
great entrance in general.
nah, we're
I
talking
just
about.
don't remember when he did it, but
I'm talking about WrestleMania entrances
I
specifically.
don't know if it was WrestleMania whenever he did his entrance the way he did. So that's my only issue.
Well, what is it? Anyways, I'll tell you if it was Mania or not.
Stone Cold Steve Austin whenever he came through the glass.
Well, he used to do that a lot.
Yep,
Like,
but
but
whenever he would come through a glass, I mean, it was just the most iconic
I think he did do it.
entrance.
He did do it at Mania one time, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I'll give you that.
All right, good, because I don't want to have to sit here and think of another one.
I think he actually that's when he started doing it was like WrestleMania when he did that he just started doing that.
Yeah, I think it was when either the first, like uh when he faced Bret Hart in that hardcore submission match, whatever. That no disqualification submission match. He might have did it then, but I could be wrong because that was when he like really started the Stone Cold Steve Austin badass don't give a shit type era. But to me, when I think of WrestleMania entrances, I mean there's so many. I mean, for instance, Cody's from this year, then you know going back to like Cena coming in the Mustang or Shawn Michaels coming from the ceiling. There's so many iconic WrestleMania entrances, but to me, the one that still to this day makes me go just holy shit, and that was Undertaker at WrestleMania 29 when it was in New York and he came out and they had the hands coming from the floor reaching for him like he was standing in the pits of hell and the hands are reaching for him. Oh my god, that silhouette where you just see his silhouette and you see the hands coming reaching for him. That to me was like to me still to this day is like holy crap. I mean, even think about Undertaker's another one, and probably my second was Undertaker's from WrestleMania 20, because I think that was one of the first times that they had all the druids come out.
Yeah,
And
that's when he I think that first time too he got wheeled out in the original double wide double deep casket.
no, 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 he wasn't. He didn't come out in a casket for it. But they had all the druids come out, and Paul Bearer was out there holding the urn,
Oh yeah.
and you could hear Paul Bearer do the all the "Whoo!" and shit like that. But like him walking, like all those druids doing that weird chant stuff when they came out, and when he's walking under those flames, and like he's literally like having to dodge them back and forth because how tall he is. But like those two entrances are like to me is almost captivates the word WrestleMania. Like
Yeah.
they stun you.
Well, I mean, also, I think one of my, I'd say if it's not my third, if it's not my second favorite, it's my third favorite. But it's probably when John Cena came out and he had all those lookalikes standing
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
and they're
Yeah, that
doing
was a really that was a pretty good aura for him.
yeah. That was when he was that when he faced Big Show and Edge. I think it was Mania
No, was
25.
that? It was, but I don't remember who he fought. I
Well,
think
I think it was Edge and Big Show in a triple threat match because that was when he
you
picked
might be right.
he picked Edge and Big Show up and AA'd them
Yep,
at the same time.
yep. I think you're right. You might be right. I can't remember though, 100%, but I think you're right.
But I
I
mean,
mean, that one's good. I was gonna also say Triple H's "Hail to the King" entrance. Coming
oh
out on
my
the chair.
no that yeah when he came out to For Whom the Bells Toll by
Yeah,
Metallica. Oh my,
yeah,
and he's sitting in that throne.
yeah,
I mean, hell, think about his entrance in WrestleMania 22 when he faced John Cena for the title. He came. That was the first time we see Triple H come out in a throne. He's got that like fur coat over him with that iconic crown with the skull face on it, and that. I mean, but yeah, you're right. That For Whom the Bells Toll. When if you don't know, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks were all like extras in that scene. Um, that 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 entrance is up there.
and then I'm gonna throw out one honorable mention.
What's that?
Mr. America.
Mr. America.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's alter ego.
Yeah.
I still
Jesus.
think that was like the stupidest, funniest thing.
I mean, I think another one that would really set me in. Um, I just lost it. Fuck, where's it at?
Well, we have been doing this for like 2 hours now, so
I mean, CM Punk's entrance at WrestleMania 29 when he had In Living Color come
yeah.
out and perform
Hmm.
for him. Heck, Rhea Ripley having Motionless in White come out and do her entrance song while she came out. That was like, I remember we were at David's wedding and we were trying to like keep from watching it or whatever, but I had it playing on my phone right before we went to the after party or whatever, and I saw that Motionless was performing for her as she was coming out, and I was like, Mikey. Oh man, that was a cool one. I can't get over that either. I still can't get over it. I still think that's Rhea Ripley's best entrance she's ever done. I mean, and she's another honorable mention for me for my top favorite wrestlers of all time. I mean, to me, she's my favorite women's wrestler of all time. And that's on a real standpoint. But but yeah, I mean, any of y'all got anything else to say for the night?
Nope. Other than that, Astrobot shouldn't have won. I
Hmm.
think I'm good.
Reed, you got anything else to say, brother?
Nah.
And Mikey, what about yourself?
Before we go, we have done a disservice to the wrestling community as a whole by not mentioning Hurricane. Good night.
Oh my God, the hurricane! There's a
Hey,
hurricane coming through.
hey, the hurricane was awesome. I can give you
He
that.
was. He was. Remember the original Sin Cara, the one that
Sin
always
Cara.
screwed up? Oh yeah, Sin Cara. He always screwed up.
But yeah, that was the episode. If you made it this far, thank you, and I'm sorry for all the hoopla you had to hear about wrestling. But if you sticked around this far, then you at least liked it. Um, if you enjoyed our content and you're not subscribed already, subscribe, hit the bell. You know,
Like, follow, all that good stuff. Tell
all
your
that.
friends.
Yeah, tell your friends, share us out. Um, for now, that's it. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.